KCBD News Channel 11 at 10.
We are the voters, and you will be hearing from us.
And there are a lot of voices to be heard. Good evening, and thank you for joining us.
It has been more than 4 hours, and Lubbock residents are still voicing their concerns over the city's proposed budget cuts for next year.
Most of tonight's debate has centered on cutting bus route times for City Bus. KCBD News Channel 11's Michael Slaughter joins us live downtown with the latest. Michael?
Well, Karen and Abner, most of those citizens have already left here. The people that are still inside are the city council members. They're discussing several options for those city bus route cuts. What we told you last week was that they're planning on cutting those routes from every 30 minutes to every hour. But there are two proposals on the table right now from two different council members. One would keep things as is, and they would pull money from LEDA to actually make up that difference and keep the city bus routes the way they are. The other proposal that's on the table right now is to allow for 5 hours during the day to have those 30-minute intervals and another to keep those on the weekends as an hour. But that's being discussed right now. But this is what the citizens had to say earlier today in that council meeting.
They're not asking for a handout. They're asking for service.
One by one, they pleaded their case.
Changing the morning times would adversely affect my work availability. My hours would be cut, and I might lose my job with the company that I have worked with for almost 24 years.
After originally planning to cut bus routes from every 30 minutes to every hour, council members countered with a new idea on Monday.
It's going to go from 9 hours every half hour to 5 hours every half hour, plus a rate increase.
If regular riders pay a quarter extra, city officials say they can continue 30-minute routes during high traffic times in the mornings and evenings. But the option doesn't work for everybody.
And the bus driver doesn't make fun of you when you're paying in pennies because you don't have it. So 25 cents matters a lot to me.
If someone 50 cents, it's a meal for them. It's a way to get to work for them.
Others had different reasons for opposing the cuts.
If you cut back on services like the bus and on the health department, some of those companies are not going to want to look at Lubbock.
And a few even offered solutions.
Maybe the answers are simply to get more area businesses to sponsor the skins on the outer shells of the buses, the way Sonic, Davis Smith, Taco Villa, and other businesses do.
Okay, raise my taxes. I'm willing to pay because I want that service not for me, but for every citizen in Lubbock.
Now, council members are discussing two options right now. Again, the first is to continue with service as is and take that money from LEDA. The second option is to raise those rates from 25 cents for regular riders and 50 cents for those that would require special attention. If those rates would increase, they still think that they would be able to do those routes every 30 minutes. So those routes would change under both proposals to stay at 30 minutes instead of the hour, but they haven't taken a vote on yet. They also haven't discussed accepting the state grant money coming in for the health department. We expect them to take a vote on that as well, and we also expect them to talk about the tax rate. So it could be a very long night here at City Council. We'll continue to stay updated with you online at kcbd.com. Karen and Abner.
All right, thank you, Michael. And don't forget, if you'd like to receive breaking news emails on stories like this one or others, then just head over to kcbd.com and you can sign up there.
It's a story we first brought to you online this afternoon at kcbd.com. 6 City of Lubbock employees have resigned or retired under pressure amid allegations that they used work computers to look at pornography. We've confirmed the issue surfaced about a month ago, but employees at the city got their termination notices last week. The City of Lubbock released a statement that reads they did a random search of internet logs where they discovered the obscene material on 6 employee computers. They say a computer and a login ID was assigned to each employee where the pornography was found. They say their employee manual says individual passwords may not be shared with anyone. Furthermore, they say their employee manual states indecent or obscene material shall not be viewed or distributed.
Well, we don't comment on individual personnel issues, but the fact remains is that we have a policy against any inappropriate use of the internet. We had some, and those people are gone. All personnel actions are case by case, and every personnel action is different.
One of the 6 employees is disputing the city's findings. If you'd like to read the city's entire statement on this issue, go to kcbd.com and also On KCBD.com, we've been running a web poll. We asked, do you agree with the city's action to discipline employees accused of using their work computers to look at pornography? 89% of our viewers have said yes, they agree with the city's action. 11% said no.
On a much different note, the Texas Tech athletic community is mourning the loss of one of their most dedicated fans. Students and staff knew 62-year-old Bob Curtis very well, and he lost his battle to cancer this morning.
KCBD News Channel 11's Tiffany Pelt spoke to several Tech athletes on his death and how he will be greatly missed on campus. Tiffany?
Karen and Abner, over the last 15 years, whether it was basketball, football, or any other Tech event, Bob was a favorite among students and coaches. They say his spirit and support will definitely be missed, especially as football season starts.
My name's Bob Curtis, and most everybody calls me Bubba.
He was one of the most dedicated fans any of the students had ever seen.
Since we've been cheering, it'll be our first game that he hasn't been at.
He was at every single one of our games. He would come to the Big 12 championship tournament, whether it was in Kansas City or Dallas. He was always at our practices and just a great guy to be around.
If the big floppy hat and overalls didn't catch your attention,
y'all hungry?
Bubba's barbecue would.
He had this big cooker, like as big as me, just full of meat, and he'd open it up and ask us if we wanted stuff. He was really nice. He was a big supporter of us.
Over the years, he fed thousands of students at tailgates in Raiderville, and they say this weekend's tailgate won't be the same without him.
He always got the crowd going, and everybody loved him, and he never met a stranger, and he'll definitely be missed, especially this weekend.
We always look forward to seeing him, smelling his barbecue, so definitely be missing him.
He lived for the students and the games, and until the very end, he was set on being the best Red Raider fan anyone could be.
Gerald Myers and I went out to his house about 2 or 3 weeks ago to visit with him, and he was still saying, man, I hope I can get me some football tickets. He was raring to go to the games, and he wanted to cook. He's a big man, weighed 450, but he was a big fan, and he had a big heart. He's one of the most generous men I've ever known.
He meant everything to the students. He meant everything. He meant everything to this university, and he'll be missed for sure.
People got to realize that we live to give. We should live to give, and I've been a giver all my life. And you win by giving.
For those who would like to support the Curtis family, there will be a memorial service September 8th at 10 a.m. at Victor Life Baptist Church. Karen and Abner.
All right, thank you, Tiffany. Again, we're switching gears. In 2 separate cases, men from Post and Lubbock pleaded guilty last week to charges related to child pornography. Ricky Steve Ferris of Post admits to receiving a visual depiction of a minor engaged in sexually explicit conduct. Court records indicate Ferris used peer-to-peer software to obtain images of girls as young as 9 years old. He faces up to 5 years in jail. Also admitting to possession of child pornography is Andrew Stewart McDaniel of Lubbock. McDaniel also used peer-to-peer software to download images of underage girls as young as 11 years old, and McDaniel faces up to 10 years in prison.
A Lubbock woman sits behind bars tonight after pleading guilty to charges of child sex trafficking. Police say 19-year-old Megan Norman, along with her co-defendant, Chan Springler, were running a child prostitution service out of several area hotels. The two were arrested at the Overton Hotel back in March after police saw their services advertised online. Norman and Pringler were found with a 16-year-old girl. Norman faces up to 5 years in a federal prison. Pringler faces up to life in prison.
And the drought across the state continues to take a toll on West Texas. Very soon, the Canadian River Municipal Water Authority will stop pumping water from Lake Meredith. 11 different cities will be affected, including Lubbock. In Plainview, Assistant City Manager Jeffrey Snyder says they will rely on water wells to keep up with demand. And of course, with the drought and now the water supply reduction, Plainview is asking its residents to help out by using water more efficiently. I'm sure this will sound familiar to you because we've heard these suggestions many times in Lubbock. To conserve water, Plainview is asking citizens to water their lawns before 10 in the morning and after 8 at night, and avoid watering on windy days, and try not to waste water by spraying down driveways, patios, or sidewalks. According to Crimois, Lake Meredith's level was at a record low of about 31 feet this past Thursday.
And all of this explains why we were so excited today to see a little sprinkle.
I think I had 5 raindrops on my windshield and I was thrilled.
Let's go to John, the First Alert Forecast Center, to find out if more is on the way. John?
Well,
some real rain.
Yeah, well, we hope so. More than 5 drops there. We actually had a trace of rainfall in Lubbock today. You know, it occurred twice, around midnight, then early this morning, but different story tonight. Let's take a look. First of all, we got a great digipig we got in from Tom Clark tonight. Show you what a beautiful sunset we had on the South Plains. You know, those clouds lingering with us off and on during the day. Didn't produce any significant rain here. They did further to our north. But as we look at the Doppler tonight, activity is confined mainly to the Panhandle, northeast New Mexico. There's enough of that activity drifting southeast that it brings a slight chance of rain, maybe to our northeastern areas overnight. We'll look at that in the raincast. But here's a look at your temperatures. We continue to be very warm in our region. Not extremely hot today, but we've got some 90s to the southeast, 80s in Lubbock. Looks like a pleasant morning. Hot at noon, and tomorrow we'll be approaching, might even set another record tomorrow.
All right. Thank you, John.